seems that artificial intelligence is the new buzzword these days, with companies like Google taking huge steps to fast forward this process through the development of AlphaGo. Joining us to unpack this is technology attorney Russel. Joins us from our Cape Town studios. Russel, if you can just tell us what artificial intelligence is and how it can change our lives.
Hi, Matteo. Great to be back. Artificial intelligence means many different things to many people. So the term we prefer to use is augmentation, and to some extent we are all augmented cyborgs right now. If you go to a dinner party and you have a question and you don't know the answer to it, you're most likely to whip out your cell phone and Google the answer. So that's really an artificial augmentation that 5 or 10 years ago you wouldn't be able to have. If we fast forward now to the present day, artificial intelligence in the true sense of the word is a deep kind of learning where computers almost intuitively teach themselves how to solve problems based on inputs that we give them.
And how is it set apart then from machine learning?
So machine learning is really on a spectrum. Everything, for example, your calculator to basic video games, to some extent are learning apparatuses. You put in inputs and you get out outputs. But more and more in the age of big data and algorithms, not only do we put in inputs, but those inputs build on each other. So our machines and systems get smarter and smarter. For example, things like voice recognition in iPhone Siri or Google voice recognition, those are all things that become intuitively smarter. They recognize your voice better, they recognize language better, and those are all more new school artificial intelligences and machine learning apparatus.
But of course, artificial intelligence can be less of a positive. It can be quite negative if you think about some countries already using it to map out war territory. We know that China is also developing a $1 billion artificial center that they're trying to get, and Russia is also trying to get into the same technology, with the US also trying to fight them off. So it's almost like a sort of a cold war in terms of artificial intelligence.
Matteo, absolutely, that's a great point. So artificial intelligence, because it's neutral but a great technology, it can be used for good or for bad. And actually the greatest minds of our generation have already warned of the dangers of artificial intelligence. In particular, Elon Musk, Stephen Hawking, and Bill Gates have all come out very strongly and said artificial intelligence is a great thing. But to the point where we get it now, in other words, Google's DeepMind and the AlphaGo experiment, they said that these kinds of things must be regulated, because what happened in that instance was that AlphaGo managed to teach itself how to beat a human being. So at some point in the exercise, the computer program started rewriting itself in order to beat a human being. And when that happens, you start to open what Elon Musk calls Pandora's box. So artificial intelligence is great, but in terms of military applications, like you mentioned, or just in terms of general learning capacity, there needs to be some regulation about how we use artificial intelligence for good instead of for bad.
And how are we using it in South Africa then, and is our regulation up to date with the rest of the world?
So to some extent, yes, we see some incredible innovations behind the scenes. Artificial intelligence is something that big businesses use in a number of ways, and South Africans, being very industrious and clever entrepreneurs, are using it for the common good. Certain education companies in South Africa are managing to use artificial intelligence to test where students know certain areas of the work and where they don't know certain areas of the work, particularly maths and science projects. And in so doing, they can map out where students need to enhance their skills and where students are strong enough and can move on to the next step. And that's all done through artificial intelligence and machine learning.